how I did it. I want to talk to you a little bit about how I did it, because if you do what I'm about to tell you, I promise you, you will be successful. I don't know how successful because I don't know your work ethic. But if you do what I did, you'll have same, maybe possibly much better results. I don't know. All I know is this works, okay? This is not theory, what I'm about to talk to you about. This is what I did. So, number one, time management. Most of you are terrible at time management. You let hours and hours and hours of your day go by, and you look at the end of the day and you go, what did I get done? And nothing, okay? And the reason is because you don't plan your day. You must get some sort of a planning system, either a day timer or a Franklin planner. I just switched to a Franklin planner. The first part of my career, I used a day timer. I was real impressed by the Franklin planner. As a matter of fact, one of the things that I'm going to start doing in my office is there's a CD-ROM program that you can get with Franklin Planner that actually you could project as a video CD-ROM, and it'll teach the whole class. I'm going to start doing that probably on a monthly basis in my office. And then all the new rep has to do is get their day planner, and they come in for the 4, 5, 6 hours. They learn how to use it, and now there's no excuse to not know how to use a planner. That's one of the things. If I was an RVP, if I was you, I would invest in that. I would start doing that. Because let me tell you, one of the main problems that your people have, and yourself, if you ever understand how do I get it all done, I promise you, if you plan your time, it's not difficult to get it all done. It's when you don't plan it and when you don't write things down that you have a challenge, okay? So what you got to do, you have to have it with you all the time. You should never go anywhere without your planner, because everything should be in the planner. Shouldn't be, are you one of those people that kind of has like a piece of note paper here, and you got it in this here, and you got a piece of note in your sun visor, and you got a note here in your desk, you have 20 different notes, and you go, oh, well, where's that note at? You need to stop doing that. Everything has to go in a day planner so that you know exactly where everything is and exactly what you do. If you make a promise to somebody, you're going to do something, you write it in your day planner. If you know you have to call somebody, you write it in your day planner. You don't put it anywhere else, because all you have to do at the end of the night is look at your day planner, what you got to do the next day. You don't need to worry because it's all there. And if you follow your day planner, you'll get it done. And the worry, you'll start sleeping better too, because everything will be there. There's nothing to worry about. You just do it the next day, okay? Real important. Write down everything you need to do. Write it down. I don't care what it is. Don't trust your memory. Some of you that think you have good memories, you don't have that good of a memory. Write every single thing down. That way, let me tell you why that's important, because when some of your people comes up to you and asks you, did you do this or did you do that, right? You don't have to go, oh, I forgot, which hurts your credibility, okay? So what's real important? Have a system have a system of task completion. In other words, when you complete a task, whether you made the phone call, you got the F&A done, you did whatever you needed to do, you check it off, okay? So you know that you got it done. It's over with. You don't have to think about that anymore. You should have that. You should have things checked off, okay? Folks, this is a discipline issue we're talking about here. Most of you are not as successful as you would like to be because you are not disciplined. This will help you to become more disciplined. If you are not disciplined with your time, you have little to no chance of being successful. Read that. You have little to no chance of being successful if you lack discipline. No one likes discipline. Folks, hey, I don't like working out, but I work out because I like being in shape more than I like not working out. I don't know if that made sense to you or not, but I don't like it, okay? So I incorporate discipline in my life because I'm more interested in being successful than not being successful. It's as simple as that. If you really are interested in being successful, a discipline is not an option. It's not something you wish you had more of. You decide to do it and you do it. How you feel about it is completely, totally irrelevant. And most of you run your life on how you feel about everything. That's why most of you are not as successful as you could be. You need to stop doing that. Your time is your most precious commodity. It's the one thing that you can't get back. One of the reasons, I don't know if you liked today, but I thought today had tons of fabulous information. I don't like to waste people's time, right? So I want to put stuff in front of you that really, when you go away, you go, wow, that was great. I learned a lot. It helped me, okay? You don't ever want to waste anyone's time. You want a sure way to drive people away? Have stupid meetings that don't teach anything, that only motivate, and it'll just be a matter of time till you drive everybody away, okay? Have meetings that have substance, and you'll keep people, okay? Don't waste people's time. I hate having my time wasted. I want to learn something when I go somewhere, and I want to have a chance to improve my life. Now, I check my productivity literally every hour from 8 in the morning to midnight. You might say, well, that's a little fanatical. I don't know. Hey, do you want to be successful or not? You should be checking. This is exactly what I did. I would check every hour. I'd say if it's 4 o'clock, what did I do the last hour to improve myself, to grow my business, to move forward? What did I do? Folks, if you haven't done something in that last hour during your waking hours to help yourself move forward, you're going backwards. You're getting beat by the competition. You have no chance to be successful. You have to be relentless. Now, not for the rest of your life. I don't do this anymore. The truth is I don't. But I did it until I was financially independent. So for a period of time, you have to check yourself, all right? Not the smartest, most talented, or creative wins, but the most disciplined. I guarantee you, I am by far not the most talented or the smartest or the most charismatic or the most creative, but I have yet to find somebody that's been more disciplined than me over the last 14 years in the business. Even today, I'm wealthy. I made $2.5 million last year, and I have a base shop still. I still do Tuesday op meets. I still do Saturday training when I'm in town. I still do all the same things. I work. I read generally about 4 to 5 to 6 different books a month. I read periodicals. I read 2 newspapers a day. I'm after it, okay? Now, you might say, well, I don't know well, it just depends what you want. You don't have to do that forever, but at least do it till you get financially independent, right? At least do it for a period of time. And then if you want to turn into a jelly donut, go do that, okay? My discipline overcame every one of my weaknesses. Folks, I have some weaknesses, lots of them. As a matter of fact, if you ask Jan, she'd probably share them with you, okay? But I have them, but my discipline overcame most of them, okay? Where I was weak, the systematic after it, day in, day out, not letting my emotions take over and staying after it, really over time helped me to become successful. Oops, this is really good right here. I believe this. I really believe this. You might be going, I'm not as good as him or her, or I don't know how. Hey, I'm telling you right now, almost no one's disciplined. And if you want to kick everyone's rear end, you make a decision that you're going to be that disciplined person, and all the people you think are so great, guaranteed, it's just a matter of time before you knock them off. Just a matter of time, not a matter of if, because everyone gets tired. They just do. And that's my edge. When they're tired, I hear them say stuff. I just go, oh, yeah, yeah. Another one that's never going to be competition. Another one that's never going to be competition. There's no competition out there. Folks, there's none. It doesn't exist. Master appointment setting, warm market. I'm not going to go into detail how to do it because it's on that tape. How to master, that little tape I did? Anybody have that tape that I did, that 90-minute tape? Okay. It's there, okay? But you must master it, okay? You must master how to get referrals, appointments from referrals. You must master how to get appointments from the prospects you meet. Everything you want from the business starts with an appointment. So, see, you should spend a lot of time on getting great, Sean, on getting appointments and getting your people great at it. Because if you can get them to do it, they can keep you busy. You see that, Fernando? If you got really unbelievable at setting appointments, if you mastered that and you taught your people, you wouldn't have to do it anymore. The reason I mastered appointment setting, because I didn't like it. Never liked it, okay? I never liked recruiting, obviously, sales, security. All things come from appointments, every single thing. And I mastered appointments because I didn't like doing them. So once I learned how to do it really well, then I recruited people and I taught them how to do it and I had them do it. You want to stop setting appointments? Get great at it. Teach the people that you bring on board. Let them do it. My main objective was to have 2 appointments every evening. This required 4 appointments to set up because of the 50% rule. Has anybody encountered the 50% rule yet? You set up 4, 2 cancel. You set up 1, 1 cancels. It's just the way it's our business. Why? Because appointments you set up, people think they have more important things to do. So if something comes up, they'll do it. And it's not because they don't like you, they don't want to meet with you. So they don't, in the beginning, before they meet with you, they don't know how great it is what you're going to do for them. Okay. So you have to account for that. You must. I used to drive Jan crazy. I had 4, 5, 6 appointments set up. People call me, yeah, I got an appointment. Yeah, I can do it. I can do it. She goes, you can't do that. You already have 3 appointments. What are you doing? I said, don't worry. 2 or 3 of them cancel. And like clockwork, they'd all cancel. And if they didn't, I'd call up, hey, Gary, can you do this appointment? Could you meet John over here at this and this time? Hey, George, could you do me a favor? Can you meet this person over here? And I'd farm out the appointments, right? And I'd go take the 2 best ones, and I'd give the rest out. It's exactly what I did. I'm not lying. It's how I did it. Roy, you do that? That's how I did it. Just like that. But what do your people think if you don't show up? Hey, they'll either do it or they won't do it, right? As long as you cover it. My day revolved around how to make sure I had every day booked. Hey, folks, we always ask, what did you do? What did you do in the morning? What did you do during the day? What was your day like? My day was like, oh my God, how many points do I have tonight? I got to set appointments. So tomorrow I got anything booked. I'm going to make sure I have an appointment. And all day would be figuring out how I could get an appointment that night or the next night or the next night and make sure every night booked. And if I didn't have an appointment, I would be psychotic. I mean, literally, I would be a nervous wreck. Some of you go, oh, my appointment canceled. I guess I can watch Seinfeld tonight. See, you're not serious. I was whacked about not being on an appointment. I was like, if I don't have an appointment to do, that means, see, for every day I didn't get something done, this was my mentality. For every day I didn't get something done, that means it delayed my reaching my goal, which is financial independence and freedom, by 2 days. That's how I looked at it. So when you have a day that's nothing happens, add 2 days to the time you get free. Add 2 days. Now, while you take a year, right? You have a bunch of those days. Say you have 40, 50 of those days in a year. You add 80 days to the time you get free. You do that for a while, all of a sudden it's taking you 2 and 3 years longer. And by that, now your wife or your husband's pissed at you, right? Because it's not happening fast enough, and it's your own fault because you're lax on your focus on getting appointments. Was this fun for me while I was doing this? No. But it was necessary. You people that only want to feel good all the time, just go do drugs. That's about the only way it's going to happen, okay? It's not going to happen here. No appointments equals no recruits, okay? If you don't have appointments, Ron, you can't recruit anybody. No appointments equals no recruits equals no sales. No sales equals no income. No income equals no freedom. Diary said that. But the fact is, everything starts with an appointment. So if you're wondering, you new people, you're wondering, what should I do? Get an appointment, because if you don't have one, it doesn't matter what you need to do. If you're new, all you should be doing is getting your field trainer in front of somebody. That's your job right now. When I recruited a new person, right? If I recruited Lynn Mass, I say, Lynn, your job for the first 60 to 90 days is set appointments for me to go take you out and show you how to build a business. That's it. I don't want you to do anything else. That's it. I'll teach you everything on the appointments. I'll teach you how to overcome objections. I'll teach you how the products work. I'll teach you how to do everything. You get me in front of people. That's your number one job, period. Get me in front of people. Paul Robles, you get me in front of people. That's all you need to know about. I'll teach you everything as we're going, okay? I guarantee if you get me in front of people and you just duplicate what I do when you see me across the kitchen table, there's no chance for you to not be successful. You're going to get wealthy if you just put me in front of people. Capiche, right? You get it? That's it. That's your job. And you might say, well, you can't talk to people like that. Why not? Because if they don't do that, I'm not working with them. Thinking big. Sales. If you can't close, you can't make money. Another thing, you got to learn how to close. You have to. Has anybody run into an objection yet? That's all you run into, right? So if you want to make your life easier in the sales and marketing business, whether it's PFS or pharmaceuticals, or I don't care what you do. There's objections in every business that you must over. If you're teaching kids, they have objections to learning, folks. It doesn't matter what it is you do. There's always something. So you have to help people to make a decision that's good for them. You have to overcome whatever it is. I want to think about it. I want to talk to my agent. I don't know if it's for me. I'm not a salesperson. I don't have time. Blah, 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 right? So if they have more objections than you have closes, they are closing you on what they want versus you closing on what you want, right? And what ends up happening is everybody loses. They don't get the benefit of your products, your opportunity, and you don't make any money and no one wins. So if you really cared about people, you would master that. You know, I don't want to be pushy. Pushy, you're hurting them by not closing them. If they're look just on that variable annuity thing, right? If you don't close someone and putting the 100,000 in variable annuity versus a taxable investment, they just lost what, 400 grand. And instead of $64,000 a year, they get 32. So who loses if you don't close that transaction? Really, you get your fee on that, right? Which is whatever it is, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, but they lose 400 grand plus the income it generates for who knows how long, depending on how long they live. Because I don't want to offend them and I don't want to make them think I'm pushy. If you run your life based on worrying about that kind of stuff, you deserve to be broke. See, well, a lot of you don't like this, okay? Because I'm telling you the truth. I don't know about the way he's saying that kind of stuff, right? Especially maybe the newer people, right? But I'm talking about how to make it happen, right? If you don't think right, almost all of winning big in your life is how you think. Like 98% of making big money and winning big is strict. Hey, listen, I know Roy Mallock real well. I knew Roy when Roy was he came start seeing me when he was making 50 grand, had already been in business almost 10 years. You think he's a genius? He ain't a genius. He's not. And neither am I. We were talking about that. You know, these people, they come and ask for autographs. How ridiculous is that, right? It really is, because we are not anything special. Well, now we're a little more disciplined in some areas than some of you. We did some things that maybe you haven't been willing to do. Absolutely not smarter. I'm not smarter. I know that. I know me. But see, you have to close though. In closing, folks, let me just give you a little secret, okay? I'll tell you what helped me to do this. I used to work for a couple of hardcore businessmen, all right? They didn't care what anybody thought. Now, I'm not saying that you need to get there, because I'm still not there, all right? I don't want to even really get there, okay? Because I do care somewhat, but I care enough about you to be honest with you. They didn't care. I watched the way they performed. I watched when they wanted to close somebody, they'd ask them 4, 5, 10 times. They didn't care. They'd ask them 20 different ways. They didn't do anything. They asked everybody to do it for them, and they'd ask. And they were absolutely no fear in asking. And I used to go, wow, now these guys are worth millions, right? They make huge money, right? And here's me, this little kid from Chino, right? I come from a Mexican-American background, and that's a background where you're supposed to be real polite and never ask. You go to somebody's house, my mom and dad, before we left, don't ask for anything. If they offer anything, you say, no, thank you. You sit there, you shut up. You don't make any noise, right? That's how I grew up, okay? You sit there, be quiet. Don't ask for anything. Be humble. And I'm broke. And they're rich. And I go, these guys, the only difference between them and me, because I'm as smart as they are, is they're not afraid to ask, and I'm afraid to ask for anything. I'm afraid to ask them to pass the salt or the butter at dinner. You know what I'm talking about? And I said, you know what? If I'm ever going to make it, I need to start moving in that direction. And I started, and my whole life changed. Hopkins is one thing you should read. Awaken the Giant Within. Start changing the way you think about yourself. These are just book titles that I think are really good. A lot of people have asked me to put this together. These are books that have really impacted my life and had me thinking. The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, to start thinking about being an entrepreneur and not just a self-employed person. People Skills, The Magic Getting You Want. This is critical, by David Schwartz. You must master the people part of the business. You must, okay? Simple things. You got to get great at this. You read these books and actually do what it says, okay? Would you please do that? What I did is I read stuff like this and I actually implemented this stuff, and it works. Pushing Up People by Art Williams. Fabulous book. If you follow the how to push up people concepts in that book, you will get so much mileage out of your organization. Skill with People by Les Giblin. I mean, Renell, is that a good book or what? It's an awesome book. It's a little pamphlet. Cost, I don't know, $2, right, Darlene? Something like that. It's nothing. I don't care how much it costs. This stuff is the most critical part of your business. If you want to grow, is you got to have great people skills. You can't get big without them. Otherwise, you feel like you're always losing people and always starting over, probably your people still suck, okay? Developing the leader within you. You got to work on yourself, right? You need to work on yourself. Folks, I figured out, I figured out how many books I've read approximately since I decided I was going to be a success, and I started reading about successful people. So I've read approximately 700 books over the last 20 years on all these areas I'm talking about. In the last 20 years, I don't think I've read more than maybe 20 pleasure books out of that number. I mean, like John Grisham kind of stuff and Dean Kuhn, all the kind of stuff that people read or whatever you like to read, right? If it didn't have to do with something like this, right? Like developing the leader within you, developing the leaders around you, becoming a person of influence, stuff like that. These are fabulous books, by the way, just a sampling of the things I've read. If it didn't have to do with improving, I'd go on vacation, right? Even when I go on vacation, all the books I take with me are all about how I could get better. And folks, I every now and then Jan will say, you got to read this book. It's a great book. And I'll do it and I'll go, you know what? I'm not where I want to be yet. I can't read this stuff. I want to read it, because it's enjoyable. But I start thinking, I'm telling all these people, I want to be successful and I want to be somebody. I want to make it. And then I waste my time. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to get better. Somehow, some way, I'm going to get better. I'm going to feel like I deserve. Folks, I expect to make $4 million this year. That's my goal, personal income goal for 1998. Now, I can't expect to make that and not work on myself this year. Subscribe to John Maxwell's Enjoy Life Club. It's a tape. He also has another one that did, what's the other? Maximum Impact. This one is geared kind of towards pastors and that sort of leaders of churches, but I love it because it's fabulous, okay? And some of you RVPs, I've sent you stuff and hopefully you've subscribed. He has a Maximum Impact, which is another one. I would recommend that you start investing some money every month in yourself in this area, okay? It'll help you feel more confident. It'll help you have a better idea of what you need to be doing. You'll get your thinking correct, okay? Most of you, if you just worked on this part, it would have a huge impact in your life. Leadership, Wooden, John Wooden, Steve Jameson. It's called Wooden, and then it has some other stuff on it. But it's a fabulous book. John Wooden is my personal hero. Some of you might like to read his, They Call Me Coach, how he built his whole dynasty, the things he did, because they all apply to what we're doing. Fabulous stuff, okay? I have built my business philosophy around John Wooden's principles of how he built the dynasty at UCLA. Janet and I are big-time UCLA fans. We go to the games most of the time when we're in town. And it's not even the winning that he did. It's the way that he did it, the class that he did it with. The focus that he had was on developing people, not winning games. Because if you all focus on developing yourself, we'll win the game. But if you don't work on developing yourself, we're going to have a hard time winning the game. Chris, we're going to. We have to, as an organization, make a decision that we're going to get better, all of us. Imagine collectively if we do that, what could happen? It could be amazing, right? Success is a choice. Rick Pitino. As Rick's doing a great job with the Celtics right now. He's a winner, right? That's a fabulous book. I read this book when I was on vacation, and I couldn't put it down. Every time I'd read one page, and I'd say, hey, Jan, man, look at this, look at this, look at this. And all the stuff that he talks about, they're fantastic, about building a team and working with people. Lots of great. Success Through Positive Mental Attitude, Clement Stone, Napoleon Hill. One of the very first books I read right when I started making a decision to be successful. This was like in 1979, I think, 79 or 80. And I read this book, and I made a decision back then that I was going to be the most positive person that I knew. That is a decision I've made with my life in 1979 or 80. and I have worked very hard. I venture to say, to this date, I have still not met somebody that's more optimistic and more positive than I am, ever, ever. I always look at the silver lining in the cloud. Always. I always look. There's always a reason for everything, and I'm always looking for how I can turn it into something positive. And folks, I think, see, my philosophy is this: if there was anything coming good from being negative, I would be negative all the time. But I have never ever seen anything good come from being negative. It's repelling. It's a natural law. Negativity repels and positive attracts. So I figured I'm in the attraction business. I gotta be positive. That makes a lot of sense to me, right? You want to attract more people? Be positive, right? You might say, well, your talk's not that positive right now. You're kind of beating up on people, okay? But it is if you're looking at it right. Recruit. The purpose of an appointment is to recruit. That's what, hey folks, a lot of people think in PFS that I'm the sales guru guy, right? That's all I teach. I have 6,700 code numbers. You don't get 6,700 code numbers with only focusing on closing sales. When I started the business, I could close sales already. I came in here already professionally trained. All I tried to do when I got in the business was try to recruit people. I wasn't worried about closing sales. When I went to somebody's house, I expected to do business with them. I never thought I hoped I would do business. I expected that. My purpose was to see if I could get them involved in my business and turn them into a district manager or a division manager, an RVP, hopefully. That's all I was thinking about, right? I mean, that's it, because that's how you get wealthy here. You don't get wealthy by making sales. You get wealthy by developing an organization and developing people. And the only way you can do that is by recruiting people. And if you have somebody new with you and you're recruiting the person across the kitchen table, now you're teaching that person next to you how to recruit somebody, and you're duplicating yourself. It's that simple. So you should be making a concentrated effort with every single person you sit down with to do that. And at a minimum, if they don't say yes to that, they become clients, and you get referrals to go recruit some of their people that they didn't want to go help you recruit. So that's how I thought. Purpose of appointments is to do business, okay? We get referrals. This is listed in order of importance, by the way. Recruit. I focus on 2 to 4 personal recruits a month. I say, folks, you could say, I'm going to recruit 10 people a month. I don't know anybody that's ever done that more than a month or 2 at a time. I'm nobody, ever. But you know what? I think you could realistically recruit 2 to 4 people yourself every month if you really focused on it every day, all month, okay? Would you agree with that? If you really made a concentrated effort, you could do that, okay? 2 to 4. But on the other hand, I recruited 10 people for the people I was field training. I probably, on a typical month, was responsible for recruiting about 10 to 15 people personally every month. I was a recruiter. I focused on that, okay? Building an organization. If you're taking someone out, you should be focusing on recruiting somebody for them. Surest way to lock them in. You already heard that. You must decide to be the recruiter. You have to decide. I told this to Fernando Reza. Where are you at, Fernando? I tell you this the other day. You must focus on being the recruiter. Whoever you are, you're the leader of your team. You know, Mel and Ramon, you must be the recruiter. Period. If your business is ever going to be what you want it to be, you've got to be that person. You must make that decision. As bad as you are at it right now, it doesn't matter. You have to decide, I'm going to get great at it. I'm going to work on it. I'm going to ask. I'm going to talk to people that are great at it. I'm going to get their tips. I'm going to get great at it. Because if I'm ever going to accomplish what I want to accomplish in this business, I'm going to have to get great at it. You have to make that decision. It all begins and ends with you. Everything begins and ends with you. As you recruit, as you focus on it, so does your organization. You watch my base shop. We are making a complete transition on recruiting. Our base shop is going to start recruiting like crazy. Right, Paul? Right, Martin? Right, Fernando? Right, Lynn? We are going to become, this is a recruiting base shop. We are going to recruit people. Meeting attendance is going to explode, every part of it. My complete attention was focused on getting people involved in my business. I'm going to keep on saying that over and over. I assumed they would be real clients because what we do makes sense, too much sense for them. Okay, so I already assumed they'd be clients. When I sat down with them, the real sale is selling them on them. See, the real key to recruiting somebody is selling them on them. It's not talking about the power of travelers and Sandy Weil and all. Those are all good things. You should tell them about that. It's not talking about Hector LaMarque or Roy Matlock. That's not how you recruit people. People, they already know it's good. Their biggest challenge is they don't believe they're capable. That's it. That's the number. I don't care how sharp they look. Hey, look, there's some sharp people in here that are new. There'll be some sharp people in here tonight that will look like everything. And they are as insecure gets when it comes to they thinking they can do it. I don't care. Rick Susie called me every single day for the first probably 6 to 8 to 12 months saying, you sure I could do this? You sure I'm going to make it at this? You sure I could do this? Rick, man, you're awesome. You don't understand how good you are. I had to tell him over and over and over again that he was going to be great. You might think you ask him. And he's great. He was just a baby in the beginning. Telling you, I don't care how good. So your biggest close is closing them on them, that how they can be successful, that they can be great. You got what it takes. You got the talent. I believe in you. I'll be there for you. Don't worry about it. We'll teach you how to do everything. Constantly reassuring them, right? And making them feel like they can do it. That's how you get people to do it. Keys. Personal through recruiting. Some of the stuff that so it was amazing. I was talking to Janet as Roy was doing his thing. Is that he's did all the same exact things that we did, right? Didn't you say it? That's exactly. That's what I told her. You did all the same things, right? Well, you copied me. Personal production through field training, right? That's really the truth. I told him all this stuff. He actually did it. Chris Howard too. Personal production through field training. A lot of people ask me, why, especially RVPs. RVPs are like, the thing I noticed about RVPs, they treat field training like it's the plague. That's the one thing I recognize about RVPs. It's amazing to me. But the reason you want to do that, the reason you want to field train, there's a reason to it. It's not to close sales or to prove that you're working hard or that you're tough, or that's not the reason. This is a reason. Duplication. You train competent field trainers, you train competent field trainers. I stayed in the field a long time. I was doing 1,000 sales a month in my hierarchy when I got out of the field. That's when I got out. I got out 2 or 3 years too soon, I believe. Now, I've done well, obviously, right? But I believe that the people that I didn't field train got hurt. I'm telling you right now, even like a Kurt Joyner who's done pretty well, right? He's doing good, right, really great right now, and he's going to do even better. But the fact is, I didn't personally field train Kurt. Yet I personally field trained Kurt, he would have been more successful sooner, I believe. There's no question, because it's not even the appointment that's important, folks, on the field train. This is especially for you trainers, you regional leaders, and you RVPs. The reason it's so critical is that the relationship you build on the appointments, the driving to the appointment, talking to them, I would have indoctrinated them with my philosophy, with my thinking, with my thought process, what they need to do. And the drive back and sitting down, going over the policies when we got back, or going over the F&A. It's the time you spend that does it. It's the time. And if you're not spending the time with the key people, then you're not going to build the business. I spent hundreds and hundreds of hours with Gary McCrummen. We went on, I don't know how many field training sales. He closed a bunch of them, but he wasn't licensed for 60 days. And we probably closed 40, 50 appointments, something like that. I don't know how many. It was a lot, okay? Recruited all kinds. He saw me recruit all kinds of people for him, right? Like those first people he recruited, he said, I recruited 14 people. I recruited all those people. He didn't recruit them. Now, he got me in front of them, but I'm the one that closed them because he was too new to the business. He didn't know how to do it, right? He was just excited. And so that's what you do. That's how you lock them in. You've got to spend the time with them in the beginning. It's critical. And train competent field trainers. Managed meeting attendance is really a big issue, okay? Major. If you're ever going to get big, you have to manage. Total focus on growing attendance weekly. Now, as you're building a business, okay, I don't care if you're a brand new PFA, or you're a district or whatever, you must keep track in records of how many people were at your op night every week and your Saturday training and your fast start schools. You should know what the numbers are. Always. How many people showed up? Who brought them? How many were new? Are we recontacting them? You should know that. That's really critical, okay? One of the things that I've re-implemented that I used to do a long time ago that I've obviously dropped the ball, but one thing we're doing now is I want to know who brought people, how many were there. And the reason is so that you can hold people accountable. Like if a guy like Martin says, I want to be an RVP, and he on Tuesday night, he's there and doesn't have one new person, because I have a list, right? I'm going to say, what's up here? You said you're going to be an RVP and you didn't have one new people. You had 7 days to bring somebody and you couldn't get one body, one born body in a chair. How the heck do you expect to be an RVP? See, if you need to talk to your people like that, because he tells me he wants to be successful. I'm the coach. It's my job to make sure he becomes successful. And that means holding him accountable to that meeting attendance. Hey, Dave, you said you wanted to be successful. I expect you to have 2 or 3 new people, 4 people on next Tuesday. Had base shop report number of new guests, agents, intents. That's one thing you must do. Start that program. Every conversation with how many people do you have coming to the whatever it is, okay? Like if I'm talking to you on the phone, right? It's Wednesday. My op meeting is next Tuesday. I'm going to ask you before I end the conversation. Hey, Ron, how many people you got coming on Saturday to the training meeting, and how many people you got coming to the op meeting? How many think you're going to have there? Well, I'm always going to ask the question because I want to keep people focused on that, right? Because people will do whatever the leader focuses on. And if you're focusing on it and you're always talking about it, people will start doing it. Retreats, convention, extravagant. You notice on the voice tell, you notice how fanatical I was? If anybody get those messages about how great the thing was and I was selling it like crazy on the voice tell, right? That's the kind of stuff you have to do with all the events. You need, folks, if you're going to be in PFS, you are always going to be selling some event or another for the rest of your career, period, until you retire. That's the way it works. You will always be doing that. Whether it's a fast start or op meeting, that's part of our business. You might as well get great at it, because if you do, you'll have all kinds of success. Don't go, oh, we're always selling some ticket. I'm always asking my people for money. Well, that's our business. Don't like it? Do something else. That's what we do. That's how we grow it. Tell people what they should be doing in production and recruiting. If somebody says to you, right, if they come to you, you want to tell them, what should they be doing, right? Hey, Gary, you know what? You should be recruiting right now with the size base shop you have. You have about a $20 to $25 to $30,000 base shop right now. That's what I expect you probably should be doing, right in that range. You ought to be recruiting at a minimum, probably 15 or 20 people with that number. If you're going on that many appointments, closing that many sales, at a minimum, that's about what it should be. If everybody's really making a concentrated effort on recruiting people at every presentation and every appointment and every contact, you should probably be doing 15, 20 recruits right now, okay? And then that should grow as you grow your business. You tell them that, what they should be doing and where they should be at. And you tell them, right? If I'm talking to Fernando, who's a newer guy, Fernando, you ought to right now, just what you got going right, a 10 grand base is what you should have right now. And you should be recruiting 5 to 10 people immediately, like this month or 5 this month and probably 8 to 9 or 10 next month. That's what you should be at right now. Don't be afraid to tell people what they should be doing, okay? Tell them. When they're doing well, raise the bar. Now, if all of a sudden you have somebody that's doing really well, right? If Carmen comes to me and he says, you know, hey man, things are going great. You know, maybe his goal for the month was to do 40,000, and it's halfway through the month. He's already at 26,000. I'm saying that 40 grand number, forget that number. You need to completely focus on doing 50. If you do less than 50, you're absolutely not doing what you're supposed to do. With the momentum you've got and all the things you've got going on, right? 50 is a number, bud. I expect you to do 50. I want you to get with all your teammates, call them all up, find out what they're going to end up doing, and you get that to 50. 50 grand with the kind of mo you've got is what you should do. You should be doing that with people, whether it's a rep or wherever they're at. You get them to do that, okay? You tell them what they should be doing. You always raise the bar and make people uncomfortable. Your focus and intensity drives everything, right? I mean, it drives it. If you're not on it, nothing happens. You're it, okay? The level of your intensity, the level of your focus is going to drive everything. If you're not focused, if they don't see that you're focused, nothing's going to happen. Never let people talk to me. Folks, I have dropped the ball in this area too, but when I was in the zone, when I was building my business, right, when I was doing 150, 200 sales a month in my base shop, when I was on it, like big time, if you got around me and you talked about anything but the business and building the business, I would say, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? The game? Are you financially independent right now? Well, no. What are you talking about the game for? When you get financially independent, then talk about the game. You need to focus right now. You might say, well, I don't want to be that tough with people. Hey, This is about your life we're talking about right here. If you don't stay focused, you're not going to get to where you want to go. You have to keep people focused. I didn't let people talk about stuff that didn't have to do with the business when they were around me, because we were trying to accomplish something right then. All right. And you can't do that if you're thinking about the Super Bowl and about, what's going on in whatever. Okay. I don't want you thinking about that. You can't control any of that anyways. You don't know what's going to happen. You can't control a doggone thing. All you can control is what you're doing, right? You get focused, really focused. If you're not financially independent, that's what I just said. This is what I would tell people. Well, you have no business talking about anything. I would not allow people to be disfocused around me. Just no chance of that. My responsibility is to get you to win, not to have a good time. We had fun. Don't get me wrong. We had a lot of fun. Okay. You know what I found out is that ironically, if you win, you have a good time, right? So when people started making money and making sales, and they were having a blast, right? And when they're not, they're depressed. Right? But if you don't keep them on it, they're going to lose the focus, right? The biggest issue that we have, let me tell you why it's so important that you as a leader, and I'm sorry about keeping you so late. I'm done just about right now. The reason it's so important is that when people come here, the average person that comes to PFS has had a job that does not require focus. They've grown up in some business that they go in, they have projects, and they have a week to do the project, or they have, there's no urgency. Get it done this week, next week, who cares, right? You know what I'm talking about? But in the sales business, if you don't close a sale today, Kurt Joyner, you don't get paid. Jerry Ward, if your team doesn't close business today, you make no money. And so you have a responsibility to keep people focused, because they will go broke if they don't stay focused, and they don't realize that because they're so used to their old life of non-focus. Your responsibility is to keep them focused. Courage, call them. This is really big. Encourage people. This is the one thing I think I'm really great at doing, okay? I'm always encouraging people, constantly encouraging people. This is how you do it. You call them and talk to them. You call them up on the phone. Hey, Ron, how you doing, buddy? Hey, things going good? If he says, yeah, well, that's awesome. I got it. Hey, Hector, I got an appointment this week. We closed the sale last night. Fantastic, man. So excited. I'm so proud of you, right? Super job. Write them. If somebody does something good, folks, I apologize. I'm not as good, but when I was on it and I was trying to build my business, anytime anybody did anything, I'd call them. I'd write them a note. I'd say, Martin, I'm so proud of you. You're on your way, man. You're going to be one of the superstars. I totally believe in you. You're one of the most awesome people I've met ever. I'd write, just a little note, put it in the mail, right? He'd get that. That day, he called 3 people. Everybody said no. He reads the thing. Oh, man, he gets all pumped up again. I'm going to make another call. He makes 2 or 3 calls. He gets a good appointment. He recruits somebody. Boom, he's off and running again. You know what I'm talking about? He gets down. He pulls out that thing I wrote to him, man, made him feel good. He rereads that. If you don't think that has power, you're clueless, okay? It has big time power, okay? You let people know they're awesome. In front of their peers, any chance you get to tell somebody they're doing a great job, right? You do it, okay? If somebody does something exceptional, hey, I think what some of you guys are doing right now is unbelievable, right? If I was going to pick somebody out and that they were doing a really great job, I guarantee you it would be like, hey, Lynn Massey. Lynn, you've been doing a great job lately. He really has. Lynn's been doing a good job. He's really focused. He's on it. He's part-time right now. He's making a game plan to go full-time this summer, right? We're going full-time. He's really, really getting his team together. He's awesome. I'm really proud of Lynn Massey, right? I would say something about that in front. There's 2 or 3 people milling around. I might say that right in front of those people to make sure that everybody knows Lynn's doing a good job, right? You say it in front of people, lift them up. Hey, Rob Holmes put all this stuff. Is this awesome what he did here? Rob Holmes did a great job on this stuff. Jan told me that he thought that this wasn't going so good. I was happy. Yeah, I'm so thrilled with this. I can't tell you. This is our first time we've done something like this, okay, with the computer and all this kind of stuff, right? It's incredible how good it looks to me. And you know what? The next time I do it, it's only going to get better. He's awesome. I'm so proud of that. I mean, this takes us to a whole different place right here. Did you see those overheads that Dennis used at the beginning? I mean, can you throw up, man, compared to this? When they're doing well, tell them how they're great, right? Especially when they're doing poorly, tell them that they're great. Build them up, make them feel good, okay? Don't let them feel bad. Come from love. Let them know you care about them. The reason you're doing this, not to get a promotion, not to get a bonus, but because you care about these people, okay? That's why you do it. When they've been gone, been gone and they come back, this is a big deal. Man, some of you, when somebody like has been around, they've been okay, and then they leave, you know, people leave, and then all of a sudden they come back 4 months later or something like that. Some of you go, where have you been? I haven't seen you lately. What's wrong with you? You don't do that, okay? They come. I tell you, one of my guys in my base shop's really been inactive, right? He comes. I saw him just the other day. I was in the office doing some stuff with Rob, getting prepared for this, right? He comes in the office, right? And I look at him and I do this thing, right? I didn't go. I went. And it's like I was, you know what does that look? I'm glad to see him, right? I got up out of my chair and I went, hey man, I got out of my chair, gave him a hug and said, I'm so glad to see you. How you been? How's your life treating you? I didn't say where you been. How come you've been inactive? What's wrong with you? I didn't do that. You want to make sure they don't come back? Do that. You make them feel good, okay? You make them feel special. Welcome without judgment. Do you want to be judged? You don't want to be judged. Don't be judging people. Look for any excuse to lift them up, any excuse at all. Make people feel so good they can't wait to be around you. You make them feel so good about themselves that they love being around you. People will come back just I see people looking at me like, pay attention to me. See, you notice me, right? Hey, I make sure I go notice them and pay attention. People are starving for that. People want to feel special. They want to be respected. They want to be loved. They want to be appreciated. They want to be included 100 times more than they want to make money. 100 times more. You get great at this. You get great at this. If you always remember that, you'll never have a problem getting people to perform. Guaranteed, never have a problem if you master this part. But if you make people feel guilty and all that stuff, right? Because you're not doing what you need to do. I never made people feel guilty because I always personally did what I needed to do and I didn't care what they did. Wit is the key. And I love the toughness. I knew I would keep going regardless of what happened. I knew it. It's a decision, by the way. Made me feel good to keep going. I don't know why, but I'm like crazy. I don't know. I just loved it being tough. I love that it's different. Sometimes I knew most people would fold because, is this why they fold? Do you have anybody fold because they got canceled a few times? Do you have anybody fold because they got a chargeback? How about people disappointing them, right? I don't know, man. People disappoint you. People quitting. Fear of change. Fear of what someone might think about them. Their spouse giving them a hard time. Listening to someone with bad mouth us, lazy, no discipline, etc., etc., etc. Right? I mean, you name it. There's about 400,000 reasons why people quit, right? Because I knew me, and quit's not even remotely in my vocabulary, right? I knew I was guaranteed to win. I knew it. When I came here, I knew I would never even think about folding. And I knew I'd win. I just didn't know when. I just knew I would, though. It was also the intangible that attracted people to me, I believe. You know, just that unrelenting, staying after it, right? Not letting up, not quitting. It's not easy. When I started the business, folks, I just sold a business that I opened a business with a partner, 20 grand I borrowed on credit cards at 18% to open this chocolate store with this partner that did the manufacturing. And then I found PFS and I decided I was going to do PFS. So I talked to my partner. I said, I found something else I want to do. This is not for me. Would you consider buying my side of the business? He said, sure, no problem. We wrote up an agreement. It came the day for him to pay me. I quit my $55,000 a year job. I was a 30% contract as a rep, 32% contract as a rep. The day I'm supposed to get my check so that I could pay my 20 grand loan off, he says, I don't have the money. So I got to take him to court. It takes me 3 years. I win the court case. He files bankruptcy. He never pays me a dime. I put out the fees for the attorney. And that's how I started PFS. That bill was $800 and some a month to pay that. I quit my 50 grand a year in a 30% contract. And that's how I started PFS. So you're going, well, you don't understand. It's tough for me. I exactly understand how tough it is. But you know who I told about that? Not a single person did I tell about that. No one. You know why I didn't, I just went, I said, you know what? I could fold right now or I could get busy. So the next 60 days, I wrote 57 sales, personal transactions. That was the only option, either that or file bankruptcy, right? A lot of you are in the same position right now, feeling sorry for yourself, but you don't understand, Hector. It's easy for you to say that because you have all this money and these people are doing well and all that, right? My situation's different. It's not any different. How you deal with it may be different, but the situation's not different. Hey, this is exactly what Gary was talking about. My desire to be somebody was and is so strong, not everything paled in comparison to it. Hey, this is me. I don't know what this sounds like. I love being a man. I love it. I love walking into a room and everyone knows who I am. I love walking at the convention. Everybody goes, oh, there goes Hector. That's Hector LaMarque. I love it. I love all that, okay? And if you tell me that you wouldn't love it, you're a damn liar, okay? You're just afraid to go for it. You're just afraid to go for it is what the real problem is. Telling you, man, the life that you are dreaming about is 24, 36, 48 months away for everyone in the room. But you got to do the stuff I'm talking about here. I believe this. This is just what I believe. That all BS aside, if you don't have a strong desire to be somebody and are unwilling to face your fear and be uncomfortable for 5 to 10 years, you won't be successful at anything. I don't care what you choose to do. You got to do that. Everyone's got to do that. I don't care what field you're in. You got to do that. At least to not any significant degree, right? That makes a difference. I believe life was too short to worry about what everyone thought except for my wife and my kids. Hey, I care a little bit what you think, but I really care what Jan thinks. And I really care what Dad thinks. And I really care what Janae thinks. I hope you all like me, but what they think about me is what you all think about me pales in comparison to what I hope they think about me. They're the ones that really, and obviously God, okay? But I'm telling you, right here on earth, they're the only ones. I want Jan to be so proud of me. I can't say. I want her when she rolls over in bed and looks at me. I don't want her to go, oh, what did I marry? You know? I want her to look when I'm asleep and go, God, thank you, God, for putting that man in my life. That's what I want her to think about me. So I made a choice, okay? I made a choice. And all of you have a choice right this second. And if you don't think your life is a direct result of the choices you make, you're living in a fantasy world, folks. Your life is exactly comprised of all of the choices you've made to date. Exactly. You're responsible for that. I thank God every day for allowing me to have free will because, see, that's what He's given us. That's the gift, is He's given you free will and choice. That's the gift. So that you, through your choices, can design your life. That's what He's given us. And some of us do a great job of making the choices and have a great life, and some of us make poor choices. I'm telling you right now, regardless of the choices you've made in the past, the choices you start making today on forward will determine the rest of your life. And all the things that you did before doesn't matter. Doesn't. So let's make a deal here. Let's make a commitment to ourselves that we're going to start making the right choices. Let's pack out tonight. Still work on that. I'll see you at 7 o'clock sharp. We're going to light you up tonight. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.